Hi, this is Allyson Lewis with the 7-Minute Life. Today we're going to be talking about how you can dramatically increase your daily productivity. And I think that's what people come to the 7-Minute Life for. We're a time management company. We want to help you prioritize, organize, and simplify your life at work and at home by offering real time management tools, worksheets, and checklists. So I hope you'll go to the 7minutelife.com and click on our tools page, where there are almost 36 tools now to help you improve your time management. But today we're going to be talking about daily productivity. I hope that you've set 1 year, 5 year, and even lifetime goals, but life happens in the present moment, and we've got to help people increase their daily productivity. What are you going to do today, and how do you get through all of that? Because there are real problems that we face every day. There's distraction, disorganization, procrastination, and interruption. Now, those are just the 4 biggest things that we hear about. There are a lot of other things that are happening in your time management that are keeping you from achieving appropriate productivity, not even just crazy productive productivity, but just really feeling like you can get to the office in the morning and leave at the end of the day, getting to some kind of enough. Because when our daily productivity is not appropriately handled, you go home with your laptop and with your phone, and you never seem to get to enough. And so that's what we want to do in this video, is help you get to that place where you can leave the office and go back and have a life and get to enough in the day and have gotten everything done that you said you needed to do. But the real problem is not these 4 things. When we talk to people about how time management encroaches on their life, it's shocking. And I know that because of my own life. The real problem with time management is not these 4 things, but it's how it impacts our own life. And today we're going to be talking about that problem, and I'm going to give it a name of fear. When my time management or my daily productivity is squeezed, it causes me to experience fear. Fear that I won't get it done, fear that I'm not smart enough, I'm not organized enough, I don't know what I'm doing enough. I have this fear of failure. And why time management and productivity are so important is living under fear and guilt and anxiety is crushing. It's just crushing. It takes the life out of us. And that's why we're called the 7-Minute Life, is that we want to help people like you and like me by providing not only tools, but books where you can continue to learn. And the last book that I wrote was The 7-Minute Solution. It's about time strategies to prioritize, organize, and simplify your life at work and at home. And it has information that I think is surprising to most people, because it's not just about time management, it's about how to have a meaningful life by reconnecting with your priorities and your purpose, by setting goals that will challenge you and bring out the best in you. I really think that this book was life-altering for me. We also have the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner, which is a tool that will help you increase productivity. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to learn today. So by the end of this video, when you step back and decide, hey, how do I dramatically increase my daily productivity? There are 5 key features that I want to go over today. The first is repeatable behaviors. Number 2 is, what is this 7 minutes thing all about? And I think that you'll find that interesting and very understandable. Number 3 is how not to create a written daily plan of action. Number 4, if you want to increase your daily productivity, you have to constantly ask yourself, is the task that I'm working on an action or a project? You may want to write that down. Is my task an action or a project? And then at the end of the video, we're going to teach you how to use our number 1 time management tool that is the single sheet of paper that can revolutionize your daily time management. So I'm really excited to move on. So let's start with number 1. The first thing you have to do to increase productivity is that you have to create repeatable behaviors. Anytime you have systematic tools and systematic processes that you can repeat by using tools and templates, worksheets and checklists, You can do it much more quickly. I travel a lot when I go and do live coaching or when I'm going to do team training or public speaking. I have to travel and pack this suitcase. So I kind of got tired of figuring out what I was going to pack every time. I created a checklist that has exactly what I need, and I just check it off. There are about 30 things, literally the clothes I wear, the shoes I take, all of those things. So when I pack to go on a trip, I don't have to think about what I need to do. I print off the checklist, I pack my bag, and I'm ready to go. It's become a very repeatable behavior for me. If you haven't yet watched the video on neuroplasticity, which is how the brain changes itself, literally you can rewire your brain and make your life anything you want to be. It's very changeable. I would encourage you to go back and watch the video on neuroplasticity, or if you have watched it, watch it again, because the number one thing you do to change your life, the number one prescription, as Laura Boyd says, is a dose of new behavior. I love that, how she says that, a dose of behaviors. And that's great that you have a dose of new behaviors, but she said the dose of practice is really high. If you want to increase your productivity, you have to begin to practice new behaviors. You have to have a large dose of practice using tools, templates, worksheets, and checklists. Why in the world do we come into the office every day with no idea of what we want to do? We call it a mental to-do list, where you wake up in the shower and you're hopping in there and you're thinking about, oh, I need to do this, 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 and this, and all these conscious and even subconscious things are running through your mind. But when you get to the office, you have no idea what to do, and you walk into a fire drill and you walk in at 8 o'clock, you leave at 5, and you feel like you've gotten nothing done. You feel like you've been absolutely not productive. So the first thing I want to share is that just a concept that you need repeatable behaviors. We're not going to go over all the tools today. We're just going to go over the one tool that can change your productivity. But if you want to be different tomorrow, you have to begin to have different behaviors on a daily basis. Number 2, why 7 minutes? What is this 7 minutes thing all about? When you look at this image, I want you to think of the fact that there are 24 hours in a day. You have a limited capacity. That is all you have. It will never be more. It will never be less. You have 24 hours in a day, and that breaks down to 1,440 minutes a day, 1,440. The 7-minute life comes from the idea that what if you took 1% of your time, which is 14 minutes approximately, 1% of your day to think and plan and decide and clarify what you're going to do. That 14 minutes would translate into taking 7 minutes in the evening to think about what you're going to do, and 7 minutes in the morning to think about how you're going to execute that plan. So rather than having a repeatable behavior where you wake up and create some kind of mental to-do list or some to-do list written on the back of an envelope and Post-it notes everywhere, what would happen if you had a tool that would allow you to take 1% of your time, 7 minutes in the evening and 7 minutes in the morning, to create a written plan of action that could take you from start to finish? And I think that's what is so different about what the 7-minute life offers. And why did I need this structure of the 7-minute life? Because I personally have attention deficit disorder. I struggle every day. I'm diagnosed. I deal with it. I work with creating these tools and processes for myself, and I can handle trying to pay attention for 7 minutes and create what I know will help me throughout the day. So that's why it's 7 minutes. Attention is so short and so hard that if I don't have a written plan, if I can't step out of the noise for 7 minutes and create that written plan, I'll just drift throughout the day. That's a very painful thing. I will show up and leave with nothing done. And when you're planning for the day, a lot of us do plan for the whole year or for 5 years out and for life goals. And a lot of people look at A as where we are today and B as this goal either at the end of the year or at the end of our lives. And we think there's just this huge gap between where we are and where we want to go. These goals are so large that they're unattainable. But what would happen if you began to understand that the goal from A to B is really what happens from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed? Every day has a goal, whether we choose to be aware of it or not. We wake up in the morning as one person with one set of knowledge, with one set of tasks we need to do, and at the end of the day, we get to point B. Now, that's either a conscious choice or a subconscious choice. But we can't wake up at 7 or 8 o'clock and end the day with nothing happening. What really happens is we don't go from A to B, we go from A to Z. Now, what do I mean by that? You wake up, you get to the office about 8 o'clock, you work until, let's say, 6 o'clock. You're going to have a goal for that day, whether you've stated it or not. But it's not just one thing. What happens during the day and during the year is that you actually move from point A to point B, from point B to point C, from point C to point D, all the way through. You've taken the tiny steps to get to point Z. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. If you want to increase your daily productivity, you have to create repeatable behaviors that will take you through these tiny steps from A to B to C to D to a point that you get towards the end of the day, the end of the year, or even the end of your life. And you've consciously made these decisions of how you're going to spend your time, what tasks you will focus on that will get you to a point that you can say, I have been productive today. So what does that look like? The very first question that we think you should ask in the evening when you sit down with a pen and a piece of paper and you've set your timer on your phone for 7 minutes and you have some kind of agenda in front of you, the very first question is, what is my goal for today? It really should say, what is my goal for tomorrow, because you're 7 minutes the night before. So when was the last time you sat down with a pen and a piece of paper and you thought for 7 minutes and you asked yourself, when you're not in this crazy, this crazy rush, what would happen if you took your pen and you asked, what's my goal for tomorrow? And you began to think about all the things you needed to do. You weren't waiting until you were in the shower or sitting at the breakfast table. You began to think through, what's my goal for tomorrow? And then you create your daily written plan of action. That's how we begin to become more productive, is when we know what we need to do and we don't rely on our brain to remind us. We have a piece of paper with the things that are important for us to do written down in what we call a written daily plan of action. So step 3 is how not to create your daily written plan of action. And it looks like this. This is really what a lot of people do, is that they think they've created a daily written plan of action when they create a to-do list. And that's actually a starting point for planning your day, but that is not a daily plan of action. So let's just take this as an example. You might walk out of your house with some kind of list that says, hey, I need to pick up the dry cleaning. I want to start the 2017 marketing budget. I have a staff meeting at 11 o'clock. I want to clean out my email because it's driving me crazy. I need to look for those receipts. I need to call John. Oh, and don't let me forget to pick up the milk. I need to overnight a package, review my expense report, and create a draft of the proposal that's due. This is not a written daily plan of action. This is a list of things that come straight out of your mind and have no order, no organization. You don't know what to do first. You haven't clarified it. You don't know how to do it. A to-do list is a starting point, but it is not a plan of action. So how do you do that? This is where we're really going to get down to not just what you need to do, but how. How are you going to increase your productivity? And it looks like this. This step, you have to ask yourself, is every task an action or is it a project? Let me explain what I mean by that. When you look at this to-do list, how many of these things are actionable and how many of these things are projects. So a project is going to take more than 20 minutes. Anything that takes more than 20 minutes is actually a project. It's going to have steps underneath it. You can't do a project. A project can't literally be picked up and started and done. A project has to be broken down in those A to B, B to C, C to D, going from A to Z. Anything that takes more than 20 minutes should be considered a project. Now, why 20 minutes? I do a lot of study on how the brain works, on attention, on neuroplasticity, on the psychology of time management. I'm not a psychologist, but I love to learn. And the human brain, according to the research, says that the average attention span for an adult is somewhere between 2 seconds and 20 minutes. We're really pushing the limit of how much we can focus and concentrate after 20 minutes. Now, that's just if we're alone. Imagine trying to get a project done if you have people knocking on your door, your text messages going off, or you have all these distractions around you and interruptions. So a project at its best, you can pay attention for 20 minutes. But a micro action is something you can do. I'd like you to write that down. A micro action is something you can do. It's an action you can take. It's something you can start and finish. And a micro action has to happen within 20 minutes, or if you can pay attention longer, within what we call your attentional bandwidth. In order to move forward, being productive means that you're producing results. And the only way to produce a result is to take a task, start it, and complete it. You wouldn't expect that a company that creates a machine would say that I've been productive, I've produced this, if they start the manufacturing process and just leave it. Nothing would ever be built, nothing would ever be done. So all of time management is starting and completing. And the only thing you can do is an action that you can do. It's less than 20 minutes. So let's go back to our to-do list to make all this kind of come together. And I hope that that aha light is about to go on for you, because this is where we all get stuck. There's a choke point that we come to. We think we're going to get things done, but this is the problem with the to-do list. How many of these things can you actually start and finish within 20 minutes? And how many of them can you do? How many of them can you start and finish within 20 minutes? So let's just take them one by one. Pick up the dry cleaning. Well, you may say I can do that in 20 minutes, but you got to leave your desk, get in your car, drive to the dry cleaners, pick up your dry cleaner, go back into your car and go someplace. So no, that can't be done in 20 minutes. And I see this a lot when I'm working as a coach for someone. They have big projects. Most of the people that I coach are very interested in personal development. They want to get things done. They're very creative, innovative, driven. And so they'll take on projects. Obviously, this looks like a project that they want to start on the 2017 marketing budget. And because they've just said start, they think it's something they can take action on. But it is not clarified. There's no direction. So nope, that can't be done in 20 minutes. You have a staff meeting in 11. Obviously, that can't be done in 20 minutes. Cleaning out your email. How many times have you really put that on your to-do list? Nope, can't be done in 20 minutes. Can you look for receipts? Yeah, you can do that. Can you call John? Yes. Again, you can't pick up the milk. Going in a grocery store alone takes quite a while. Can you overnight the package? Yes. Can you review an expense report? Yes. But can you draft a proposal? No. So I want you to look at these things and begin to think, you created what you thought was a plan of action. These are the things I want to do today. But the problem with this list is you can't do them. You actually have to break down each one of these things from a project into what we call micro actions, something that you can do within 20 minutes. And in this case, the only thing you can do within 20 minutes is look for receipts, call John, overnight a package, and review an expense report. Why this should hit home for you is that if those were the only 4 things that you got done, would it have made a difference in your job? Would you have walked home at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock and believed that you got something done? that you were able to start it and completely finish it? Would it have made a difference? And the answer is no, because the only things we can do and accomplish are those things that are very small. At the end of the day, we walk home with this list, and possibly the only other two things that we've done is pick up the milk and gone by and gotten our dry cleaning. This is where productivity starts and finishes. So how do you solve that problem? Remember, a project is anything that takes more than 20 minutes, and a micro action is something that takes less than 20 minutes. So let's go back. We talk about something called creating your 5 before 11 list. Very different than a to-do list. And even people that have been following me and following the 7-minute life still struggle with what a 5 before 11 list is. A 5 before 11 list is not just a glorified to-do list, it's a list of micro actions. And why do we call it the 5 before 11 list? We call it 5 before 11 because in the evening, when you take your 7 minutes to think about what you want to accomplish and to ask that really important question of what is my goal for tomorrow, we want you to take that to-do list, that's a starting place, and break it down into 5 high-value micro actions that you can start and finish before 11 a.m. Now, we get a lot of questions, is that really 11 a.m. or 11 p.m.? It doesn't really matter, but there are 5 things, or 2 or 3, whatever's on your list, that you can actually take action on and complete. That's where productivity comes in. Production of something means that it's going to be produced and go out of the manufacturing door. That's the end of the road. That's the end of the production line. That's where we want to get with our jobs. When you go back and you compare the to-do list to what I'm about to show you on this 5 before 11 list, I know that you're going to go, yep, that's my problem, and this is how I'm going to really, for the first time, increase my daily productivity in a way that is so simple, it's going to change your life forever. So let's take a look at what I mean. We had start the 2017 marketing budget on there. That's a project. But what if you broke that project down into a micro action? What might the first micro action be? The first micro action might be, I'm going to work on the marketing budget by pulling last year's marketing budget and creating a template for what was in that budget. If you're going to create something new, it's always easier to go back and look at a template. Well, the best template is last year's marketing budget. We're going to go ahead and say that that takes 20 minutes, but it's still within the area of a micro action. Now, I don't want to be really legalistic about this. You may get into something and you may be able to focus on it for an hour, but as you're planning for your day, you're breaking things down into tiny steps that you can really mark off as done. You can do that with your marketing plan. Number 2, the staff meeting. Rather than going into a meeting that's going to take an hour and a half, why don't you create an agenda with each call that takes 15 minutes? Now, that's supposed to say with each item. Getting all of that ready, it would probably take you 15 minutes to create that. It really has nothing to do with calls. But how different would it be if you went in with an agenda to that staff meeting about what you're going to do, how you're going to talk about it, who's going to be in charge, and when the deadlines are? Creating the agenda is something you can do. Create a written agenda in 15 minutes. Email. You can't clean out email in 20 minutes, but you can schedule a day to do that. And one of the best ways to do that is to have someone come in and be accountable with you. Have someone say, okay, we're going to do this together. We're going to have a sandwich. We're going to sit down and we're going to work on our email and do it a little bit of a time. It'd take you less than 5 minutes to schedule a time to begin to work on your email. Number 4, draft the proposal. The proposal is something, whatever it is in your job, again, create an outline. In the night before, think about what you want to create and just write down quick notes about what the proposal needs to be. Start with the question, what's the outcome of the proposal? What's the goal of the proposal? Who am I writing it for? What needs to be covered? Just create the outline and start the draft. That could take 20 minutes. And the fifth thing is all other work actions. And you know things are going to come in. All these other things like call John, look for the receipts, overnight the package, those things that were on the to-do list might take another 40 minutes. By accomplishing these things, you would have taken 120 minutes or 2 hours to actually mark off the things that are on your list, except for the personal tasks of picking up the dry cleaning and picking up the milk. This is doable, even with interruptions, even with distractions or disorganization. If you had taken the time, the 7 minutes before, to not come in with a to-do list, but to come in with micro actions, not projects, but things you can do, you can only imagine that your productivity would go up. And a lot of people then say to me, well, how do these little things even matter? Here's how they matter. If you took the 5 before 11 for the next 7 days, just for 1 week, and you worked on tasks that were tiny, that took less than 20 minutes, but they were meaningful, they moved you forward from point A to point Z by going from A to B, B to C. In 7 days, you'd accomplish 35 actions. You'd mark 35 things on your list. You'd be taking 35 steps closer to hitting where you want to go, to being productive. Can you imagine crossing 35 tiny steps that were meaningful, that moved you forward towards your goal? But the 7-minute life is not built just on a week. The 7-minute life is built on a platform of 90 days. We get that all the time. Why 90-day goals? Why 90-day books? Why is everything 90 days? It's because the seasons change every 90 days. And I'm so grateful they do. I have good seasons in life and bad seasons in life. And so we move from summer to fall to winter to spring, and we get do-overs. But what if, on a productivity scale, you were able to accomplish your 5 before 11 for 90 days? To be diligent, to create those repeatable behaviors. If you did your 5 before 11 and marked them off in just 90 days, you would have accomplished 450 actions. You would have produced 450 finish lines. You would have accomplished 450 steps. The magnitude of that is overwhelming. It's not the big projects that somebody has to have great time management to accomplish. It's the tiniest of things that we call micro actions. That's where productivity happens. And I want you to really let that sink in for just a moment. What would it mean to your life if you could accomplish 450 things that took you less than 20 minutes to start and completely finish? I love this because it's so simple. We're going to go back to these A to B, A to Z. I can see where I am today, and I have a lot of growth that needs to go on, and we're going to move on into how you make this happen, into the real tools. But I look at this and I see that I have to take all these tiny steps, and I look out at the next 90 days, and the next 90 days is going to be here. Whether we plan for it or not, we're going to blink and 90 days are going to pass by. So I can wake up 90 days from today having been unaware and have no intention drifting through life, or I can use these micro actions and create repeatable behaviors where my only goal is to accomplish 5 high-value things before 11 o'clock. And for you, that can be 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. But when I become committed to these things, it's life-altering. It's just life-altering. So we have to learn how to use our number one time management tool. And I will say this tool did change my life. This single tool is increasing the productivity of people all across the world. And it is something I created, 15 years ago, to take me from using a to-do list like this, where pick up dry cleaning, I couldn't do that in 20 minutes. Start the marketing budget, couldn't do that. You can't have a staff meeting list. You certainly can't clean out your email. I was coming in with a list of projects that couldn't be done and leaving at the end of the day with nothing but anxiety and stress, thinking, why can't I get things done? It's because they're not actions you can do. So what did we create? I created something called the Daily Progress Report. And if you remember, we were talking about how do you create a written daily plan of action. This is that daily plan of action. And I want you to compare the two things side by side. Would you rather have just some random back of an envelope or post-it note with things that you can't do, a to-do list, or would you like to have a template that you can use as a repeatable tool day after day after day to create repeatable behaviors? The more often you use a behavior, the easier it gets. And so when you first start looking at your 5 before 11, it's painful, it's hard. It's hard to create what you can really do. We still tend to put projects down on our 5 before 11 list. But would you rather have a tool that is not repeatable and not useful, or would you like to learn about how to use a tool that is changing lives all across the world? I created this because I have attention deficit disorder. I needed to know what I needed to do, who I needed to call, what tasks I had unfinished, what the contacts were that I need to make. Let me walk you through the daily progress report. The very first thing you're going to see is what will I do 5 before 11. At night, you take out your cell phone, and I literally have to set it for 7 minutes. I think you'll be shocked at how long 7 minutes is. And you ask that one question: what is my goal for tomorrow? And then you begin to write down on a random sheet of paper, kind of a brainstorm of what you want to do. And out of that brainstorm of the to-do list, you then begin to break down those things that are projects into action steps that you can take. And it's those micro actions that you put on your 5 before 11. This is where you begin to get the benefit of that compounding interest of taking tiny steps day after day after day. And if you use nothing else on this worksheet but those 5 before 11, just that one tool could change your life. But there's so much more to this. The 5 before 11, again, we showed this earlier, and that's exactly what you would translate into that 5 before 11 list. That's what we're talking about, is not just putting projects on there, but actually putting the actions. The second part of this is what I call the 7-minute life connections. We get so busy that we forget to connect with people. This template was created to help people be intentional about what they want to do. This is about calling your college roommate or a teacher or someone from church, or setting up a luncheon or a coffee with someone. We need to stay connected to people that we care about. Or if you're in business, we need to stay connected with our clients. We need to stay connected with vendors, with prospective clients. Who are you going to call? Who are you going to, the night before, as you're taking your 7 minutes, being prompted, visually prompted by this page of, who do I need to connect with? Who do I need to know? Who do I want to know? Who do I want to have lunch with? Who do I want to mentor? Who do I want to meet with? The next piece is unfinished tasks. And this is a whole nother worksheet. But during the day, as you go through your day working, things are going to come back at you. Even as you accomplish micro actions, you're going to realize that you have other tasks that you'll need to accomplish in the future to accomplish a project. This is where you write all those things down. Under daily contacts, I was in sales. I was a financial advisor for 30 years. And in my business, in sales, the more people you contacted, the more business you did. The more people you told about your products and services, the higher your income is. But that can go into a lot of different places. The daily contacts of being connected with your people, whatever job you're in, is important. But we do have people that are not in sales that will simply use this part of the daily progress report to write down what they do, who they talk to, what they need to do, almost as an additional to-do list, but one with more detail. One of the most important parts on the daily progress report are what we call psychological triggers. This is why having a written daily plan of action becomes more than just a to-do list. You can keep up with what you spend. At the very bottom of the page, we all know how important it is to stay hydrated. Well, what if you could just take a pen and mark off those cups of waters? What if you knew how much sleep you were getting? What if you made a note of how much exercise in minutes, how much time you spent praying and reflecting on what's most important, stepping out of the noise and thinking about your life? How many books are you reading or listening to? What would happen if you just read 10 pages of a book every day that could transform your life? Reading is one of the most important things we can do. And you can keep track of what you're eating and the snacks that you have. At the bottom line is that question on the bottom right. At the end of the day, when you've worked through this written plan of action, the daily progress report, there's one question. Did I do what I said I would do today? Did I do what I said I would do today? It's a yes or no question. And this is where productivity becomes so hard. There's a dangerous phrase in time management, and it's just, oh, let me do that one more thing. No, let me do one more thing. Right before you go to bed, it's 11 o'clock. Let me do that one more thing. Let me send out that one last email. And all of a sudden, you're still at your computer and it's 1 o'clock. What if you had a written daily plan of action where when you marked off those 5 before 11 and a few of those other unfinished tasks, you could say, yes, I did what I said I would do today. And what does that look like? It looks just like what we've been doing. Did you pull last year's budget report? Yes, I did. Mark it off. Did you create an agenda for the staff meeting where it was more efficient? Yes, mark it off. Have you scheduled a day to clean out your email? Yep, mark it off. Did you create an outline and start the draft of the proposal? Yes. Did you do the other work actions? Did you call John? Did you create all of those things? Did you spend 2 hours of your life marking these things off? What would it mean to you from a standpoint of increasing your productivity where you could leave the office saying, yes, I did what I wanted to do today. I did what I needed to do. So vitally important. Why is this so easy? How can you really increase your daily productivity? You can do it by recognizing that there are 24 hours in every day. That's 1,440 minutes. All that we're going to ask people to do, this 7-minute thing, is to take 1% of your day. That's 14 minutes. 1%, which if you take 1% of your day to plan and to think and to ponder and to clarify, that leaves you with the other 99% of your time to live. That 1% is 14 minutes. What if you took 7 minutes in the evening with the daily progress report, and at the top of it you wrote, what is my goal for tomorrow? What is that overarching thing that I want to accomplish? Write down a simple to-do list on the back of it, and then break those things from projects into micro actions. Taking that 7 minutes in the evening, and in the morning, reviewing that plan, beginning to outline how you will do it, who you need to talk to, what files you need, and walking into the office with your daily progress report sitting on your desk. The simplicity of this is beyond reason. The 7-minute life is about taking 1% of your life to plan, to create a written plan of action, to create your 5 before 11 list. What are those simple things that are so important that you've made so hard that you could make so simple? What are those 5 before 11s? Did you do what you said you would do? Bottom line is you got to write it down and then do it. Do what you said you'll do. But there's even a bigger step. If you've been watching our videos, or if you haven't had a chance to watch them all, there's a series of these videos that great. Even if you could increase your productivity, even if you could do the 5 before 11 for 90 days and accomplish 450 things, even if I had some kind of magic wand and everything you needed to do for this year could be done by the end of the day, would it have made a difference in your life? Would being more productive make your life better? Would being more productive make your life more meaningful? Would you be more fulfilling? Would you have more significance? Would you be able to leave a legacy to those people that you love? Does increased productivity in itself lead to anything? Just think that through for a minute. What if you were getting more things done, but you were getting things done that were meaningless to you? Now, I have a job. I have a job that I do every day, and there are a lot of things that are just tasks. But the foundation of everything I do flows through what we call the 7-minute solution flow chart. Most people start planning for their productivity by focusing on what's at the bottom of the list. They start by planning for today. And I'd like you to go back and watch the videos, because where your life should begin is understanding your priorities in life. What's most important to you? What do you value? What's the point of life? And then stepping into how you can rediscover your purpose. Very few people really have an understanding that purpose is how you serve others. Purpose is how you use your personal gifts and talents to change the world. And love is the foundation of purpose. Why have you been placed on this earth? Wouldn't you like to hold a written piece of paper in your hand that says, this is why God placed me on this earth. This is what I'm here to do. This is what I'm called to do and share with the world. How different would your productivity be if it had begun to filter through the lens of life goals, of knowing where you are today and what you want to accomplish, and understanding why you're not doing those things? What's on your bucket list? Whose lives do you want to touch? What will matter to you? And creating out a timeline of when you're going to do those. And even at the beginning of this, we talked that the 7-minute life is broken down into 90-day platforms, not just because quarterly earnings are reported, but because that's how life is. Summer, fall, winter, spring, every 90 days we get a do-over. There are good seasons and bad seasons. What if you began to plan your productivity through the lens and the filter of your priorities, purpose, life goals, timeline, and into who you want to be 90 days from now? I believe that when you walk in the office and you did work tasks, but you did them knowing that you have gifts to do these things, that you have aptitudes and abilities, I believe that's when productivity at work and at home become meaningful. What do I mean about prioritizing your life? This is a tool. Even when you look at these words, they become important, starting at the left. What if you began to filter your productivity through love? Why do you work so hard? Because you love your family. Why do you work so hard? Because you love your job. Why do you work so hard? Because the faith that you have calls you forward into a place to use your very best, to bring out the best in you. Why do you work so hard? Because of my family, because I want to have friendships. I want my life to change. I want to serve others. Even as you hear those things, how different would your productivity be if you knew what your priorities were and what was most important to you? How different would your productivity be if it weren't just all work-oriented, but you created 90-day personal goals? Some of my goals are that I want to renew and continue to grow in my faith. That's really important to me. I want to have time to reconnect with my heart, body, mind, and soul. Another thing is I want to make sure that I'm in the best physical condition of my life. Now, am I? No. Am I working on it? Absolutely. And the only way to be intentional about that is to take out a template or a tool and write down who you want to be 90 days from now. Remember, 90 days is going to be here. You're going to blink and 90 days is going to occur. But have you accomplished any of the things that you said you would? Be intentional. Write them down. What about discovering your purpose? What if someone could lead you through the process of creating a purpose statement that outlines what you love in life, words that are purposeful to you, and be able to hold your actual purpose, why you've been here, what you do for others, what you love, in your hand? Why are purpose statements and priorities important? Because they become the filter. This is my list of priorities. And I know my spelling's not so good, but I was really in a zone. Faith and wisdom are really important to me. Family, love, and friendships. Health, nutrition, exercise, and staying hydrated. Learning and growing, freedom, and peace. I teach time management because so much of what I felt in life was that drifting and that constant stress and anxiety. And I want I value freedom and peace. I want laughter and joy. I love to create things. And even this video, which didn't exist before, has now been created and is going to be shared throughout the world. That's my priority. I value that. I love teaching and making a difference in the world, and I want order. Humans crave order. We want to know things, that it's going to make a difference, and I want time for those things to happen. And one of my priorities is financial security. We have to take care of our families. We still have to realize that it's okay to be financially secure, that the work that I do is valuable. It brings value to the world around me, and it takes care of my family. Those are the things that I value. What if I spent my time filtering my day, filtering my 5 before 11, at least through the fact that when I do my work, this is what I get in return. Not just because of the tasks that I'm doing, but because I understand what's important. Am I willing to work hard at a job that can even be tedious to experience faith and wisdom? Absolutely. Am I willing to work 8 hours a day on something that's hard so that I can have laughter and joy? Of course. What am I looking for? Time to exercise, time to experience freedom and peace? Yes, that's what daily productivity is about. So if these things become our filter, when you have a written plan of action, that becomes the life that you experience. When you take those 7 minutes in the evening and you ask yourself, what is my goal for tomorrow? And you set your phone for 7 minutes and you step out of the noise and you write those things down. Who do I want to be? What do I want to accomplish? How is my purpose going to be outlined today? How am I going to use my priorities and my purpose to change the world around me? All of those things that you filter through are great. I want you to experience them. But what you do every day becomes the life you live. Your actions become your reality. Did I do this or did I do that? Did I help someone today? Did I do something kind? Did I make a difference in those around me? The written plan of action, whether it's mental plan of action or a written, specific, intentional, committed daily plan of action, whatever you're doing, the actions you're taking, the steps you take, become the path of the reality of your life. And this piece of paper is important to me because I want to make sure that my steps are intentional. Time is so limited that I want to have a written plan that I can hold in my hand and walk down. The 7-minute life is different in that we do want to increase your productivity. We definitely want to help you increase your understanding of time management. But what's the point? What is our end goal? The end goal of increasing your productivity and improving your time management is that we want to help you understand your priorities in life, help you reconnect with your purpose so that you can really understand and see the potential of what's out there. We want you to have excitement. We want you to live with commitment so that you can, I don't know, reestablish that fuel, that passion, the drive that's inside of you, and do it with determination. Life is hard. We've got to persevere through things. But I want to do that with clarity, and I want to do it with conviction. I want to be serious about saying, I believe I'm called to do these things. These are my goals. No matter how hard, I'm going to have a plan that will take me down that step by step by step. So I'm Allyson Lewis with the 7-Minute Life, but I know there are questions that you still have. And this is really, really important because we can take tiny steps, which are important, but sometimes we also have to take really deliberate, intentional steps. So before I close this webinar, I just want to tell you how much I've enjoyed sharing these ideas with you. This is my purpose in life. The comments from our videos and webinars and just classes that we teach have been amazing. We've had over 150,000 views on our YouTube channels, and I hope that grows exponentially as you tell people about videos just like this one and you watch the other videos that we've created for you. What this tells me is that people are hurting for better time management. Now, I'm not surprised by that. We live our lives in minutes, and when you finally get to that position where you can increase your productivity and manage your minutes Suddenly we begin to understand that anything is possible. We have potential that we never understood. So you might be a busy mom that's stretched between family and career. I was. Or you might be a business executive that wants to increase your bottom line. Or you might just be someone who's tried time and time again to change your life, but you just keep falling back into the same old habits. So whatever your situation, getting the results you want will always come back to how you manage your time. I hope you've seen all 3 of these videos and dozens more that are on our YouTube channel, that time management is not rocket science. And with the right tools, anyone, including you, can do it. You just need to get clear on what's most important to you. What are your priorities? And you need a simple, daily, repeatable system to keep your energy focused, to get those things done, to mark them off your list. And once you begin managing your time based on your priorities, filtering through this flow chart, the stress and the procrastination will begin to slip away. You'll prune out the things that no longer matter, and you'll have newfound energy. You'll stop resisting your work and start loving what you do, even if it's hard. And most importantly, you'll begin to find more and more time for those activities, the things you value the most. You'll have time for activities like spending time with your family, or reading a book, or finally spending time on a hobby you love. Or what about going in the office and knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that you have actually accomplished the results? You've achieved something worthwhile, rather than just spending your day running around, stamping out fires and dealing with distractions. How would that feel? I want to say to you that these possibilities are totally within your reach when you know how to manage your time. And I know that because even though I have attention deficit disorder and deal with distraction and clutter and disorganization, I know that these things matter because they've mattered to me. And I've had the privilege to teach thousands and thousands of people how to manage their time better. And I see over and over again that people don't just want time management skills. A master class is going to be very different than what you're watching. It's not going to be about getting more things done. It's not just going to be about being more productive. There's a lot more about life. You want to live fully and with meaning. You don't want to just do task after task after task. You want to live and live richly. So what is a master class? A master class is going to have some to do with time management. It's going to have some to do with productivity and with potentials. But that's not what this class is about. Our master classes are 7 live online trainings. I can see you, you can see me. You're with people, a very limited number of people that you literally can all see each other on the screen, and we're talking. I'll be teaching concepts about life, about how you can set your priorities. Yeah, you've seen it on the video, but have you really done it? Do you understand how to create your priorities? What are the steps that you take? How do you make sure those are the things that are most important to you? We'll be walking through how to create your purpose. Can you imagine what it's like to hold that piece of paper in your hand, to know how you're going to make a difference in the world? That's what we're going to be doing in this master class. We're going to set goals. I'm going to teach you how to use the tools we have to decide who you want to be, not just 90 days from now, not just a year from now, but at the age of 85. Who do you want to be, and how do you want to look back? That's what a master class is. It's not just about getting more things done. It's about reconnecting with your life at the level of your heart, body, mind, and soul. And I know that this is important, and I know that people have wanted to join something like this. And the people that sign up for the master class, they're extraordinary. They're truly extraordinary people because they're willing to take time, 90 minutes a week for 7 weeks. That's a lot of time. They're investing in their time, and all of these things are recorded. So the size is going to be extremely limited on these master classes. It's probably one of my favorite things to do because it's not just me teaching and learning. It's that we're learning from 15 other people that are highly motivated, 10 people, 7 people. It's a very limited number of people. And this class is as close to being coached one-on-one by me as you can get. And because I'm there every week, week by week, for 90 minutes, this class is not going to be inexpensive. It's for a very limited number of people, usually less than a dozen, who would like me to mentor them directly. And I'll be giving you all the details and the emails, and if you want to learn more, just click the buttons below. And it's been a privilege to share this free training with you. We have a lot of information on our websites, and I've given you an overview of all the things that we believe can help you spend your time well. I've even shared the tools that you need to do to reduce the stress in your life and begin living out who you are called to be. And I hope you'll take what I've given you and run with it. But if you want to go deeper and you truly want to create a life full of purpose, passion, and meaning, then I hope when you receive the email about this class opening to the public, the master class that is going to be starting, I hope that you'll join me and register for this live series of classes. Why do I want you there? Because the people that join this class are just like me, that they want life to be different tomorrow than it is today. And if the master class is something that you want to do, make sure you click the button to receive the emails about the master class that's coming up. Just click on the button below, enter your name and email, and we're going to send you the information because the registration door is going to close. This is very limited. It's going to close. Please make sure to leave your comments about this, to leave the information, to ask the questions, to share these videos with your family and friends. This information will make a difference in your life, and I want to have you understand that it's made a difference in my life. The people I've met, the people that I know, I believe that life is a journey, and I hope you'll register for this master class so that we can journey together down a path that matters. I'm Allyson Lewis with the 7-Minute Life, and I want to share one last piece of information. If you go through this master class, which I hope you will, I'm going to ask you, what is the opposite of a purposeful life? The opposite of having a purposeful life is fear. That's where we began this video, and that's where we're going to end the video. The opposite of what you're experiencing now is that overwhelming fear that wraps us and keeps us from becoming the person God has called us to be. That inner voice that wants to get out of the ruts and begin to walk a path that matters. The opposite of a purposeful life is a life of being bound up by fear. And then I started thinking, well, what is the opposite of fear? Is the opposite of fear courage? And I thought, no. The opposite of fear is freedom. That's why I'm teaching these master classes. Not that we have all the answers, but that people like you and me want to begin to walk down that path of continual learning. I want freedom in my life. I want to learn from people, not just about time management, but about my priorities, my purpose, the goals that we have, and how we can take action on those things. Don't you want to be a part of a class like that, of like-minded people that care about life and want life to be different, not just for them, but for those they love and for people all around the world, by sharing their purpose to make the world a better place? If you'd like to learn more, just click the button below or contact us at info@the7minutelife.com. I know there are only a few of you that want to be a part of this, but those of you that do, I really, really look forward to being a part of that masterclass with you. I want to thank everyone for watching this video. I hope whoever you are and wherever you are, that you'll understand the power of 7 minutes of reconnecting every day with what you've been called to do. I'm Allyson Lewis with the 7 Minute Life. Life is a journey. Journey on.